welcome to Plus Size Curvy and Pregnant. Marceline here, and I have a special guest for you tonight. This is Sandra. She is here today to share her journey with us, her journey of dealing with infertility. That's been our subject. It is our purpose for this series. And I'd like to have Sandra introduce herself. Hey, Sandra, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hey, guys. My name is Sandra Elidor. I'm not sure if my age is needed, but I'm a 37-year-old woman, Haitian descent. I currently have my bonus daughter, my son through IVF, as my sexy slim husband that I call. That's my name for him, Sexy Slim.
Yes, yes. How long have you guys been married?
My husband and I, next year in February, will be our 10th wedding anniversary. We're married now for 9 years. He's actually my high school sweetheart. We dated in high school.
Oh,
My parents didn't know, guys. My parents didn't know. It was one of those
honey,
low key, I wasn't always a Christian.
love
So
it.
we dated in high school and we went our separate ways, dated other people. I was engaged to someone else. He was engaged to someone else. That didn't they didn't work out.
Yeah,
But God had magical powers. He did his own thing and we got together through Facebook. We
wow.
connect through Facebook. Yes.
Come on, come on. Hey, we have to use technology, and
All right.
technology gets us what we need and what we want.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Now you've been married you said 10 years.
Yes. February will make us 10 years married.
10 years.
Mhm.
Wow. Tell us about that journey of being married 10 years. Tell us about that.
It's been good and we had our rocky moments. Marriage is not for the faint of heart. Marriage is work, and we're constantly working on our marriage. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, it's been beautiful. It's been cupcakes and rainbow. It's been sprinkles on top and cherries. No, not at all. We put work in our marriage, and
Right.
matter of fact, I'm happy that we put in the work because we appreciate our marriage even more.
That's right. That's the beauty of marriage. We all
Yep.
grow. It's a growing season. I feel like
Yeah.
if you stop growing, it's unhealthy.
It's
Um,
unhealthy.
unhealthy, and I
You're
don't
not
feel like that's necessary.
Yeah, you have to water the plant. You have to keep doing it, giving the sunlight. And when I said I do with my husband, I thought I loved him. But it's when you're married and you in it, you're like, really? I really love this man. Like
Okay.
that I do love was, okay, I love you.
Yeah.
But you haven't gone through the road of marriage, the trails and the things that you have to go through, and then you can still stand and like, man, that was baby love.
Okay.
Now this is that real love. Like,
This
this is
is
love.
the real, real,
Real
real
love.
stuff because
Yeah.
things start to happen, things that you did not anticipate to happen, and
Hmm.
you have to navigate that together
Yep. And still stand strong.
and still stand strong, have a smile on your face, and have each
Yeah.
other's back, and love deeply. And
Hmm.
that's work, and it's only
Yeah.
maturity that gets you there, and that's such a
Hmm.
blessing to have.
Yeah.
Such a
I
blessing.
often tell people that you get married. When you got married, you loved your husband. Once you're in the wedding, the marriage process, do you like your husband?
Ooh, good one.
Because now that like is a little totally different. Now it's almost like I'm obligated to love you because I made a commitment.
Right,
But do I like you?
right.
I can stand here and say that I like my husband. I like to be around my husband. I like to spend time with my husband, even when he gets on my nerves.
That's right. I mean, I feel like they were born to get on earth. So I'm
Yep,
like, okay,
that's
God,
their job.
help me. Help me,
Their
Jesus.
job, and they do it well.
Very well. I mean, I told her, I said, you can put that on a resume. I get on my wife's nerves and she still loves me. So I must be really good at what I do.
Yeah.
So, wow, what a blessing. I love that. I love that. So I invited you to be a part of this series because I feel like you have such a beautiful story. Sandra actually shared her story with me, and I was like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I have to have her share this with the community that I'm a part of. And I love the way that she looks at the journey and find places to smile. Now, that's not easy when you're walking through this
No.
journey of infertility or struggles with
Mm-mm.
fertility. So I want her to actually share with us her story. And I want to start with, at what point in your journey, like what point in your marriage, your marriage walk with your husband, that you decided that it was time to start trying to get pregnant?
You know what? It took us a while to get there. It took us a while, only because this is not something that is known in our community. This is not something that's talked about. This is not something that you can go and just find that sister, that aunt, that relative, and like, let's have this conversation. We don't talk about this. That's not something we talk about. So I wanted a honeymoon baby. I wanted to come home in a couple of weeks. Yay, we're pregnant. Because for me, most married folks want 2 or 3 years and not have children, and to spend time with their husband and their wife. But for me, my husband already had a child.
Mhm.
He already had a child. When I got married to him, I also got married to her. So that living with no children, it wasn't an option for us.
Right.
So I'm like, why not just add another one in the mix? It won't be that what's the problem? It should be easy, right? This is what our body is supposed to do. Let's
Right.
go ahead. Let's have some fun, enjoy the good time, and get pregnant. Well, that wasn't the case for us.
Mhm.
And we tried, and I was at that age, they always say to try at least a year before you can say you can't have children. And we did that a year. Hey doc, what's 6 months, nothing happening yet. Oh, just keep going. Okay, it's a year now. What's going on? Okay, now since it's been a year, let's try Clomid. So, which is an infertility medication, and we tried Clomid. But Clomid, once there's a specific window that you take it, and when I took it, I was in severe pain. I would wake up unable to walk. I
Wow.
was in bed. I was in so much pain. And I would call, I was like, this medication am I supposed to be in this much pain? It's like, no, it doesn't do that. Something is off. I'm in pain. I'm having a hard time just to get out of bed to walk. And I would call in sick from work. No, it shouldn't do that. I'm like, okay, so I kind of dismiss it. Maybe it wasn't the drug. Maybe it's just a fluke. Then the following month, another round of Clomid. Same thing. I'm like, no, this is not normal. When I'm only in this pain within that window, and it only lasts for about a day or so, but I'm unable to walk. Eventually, as I push myself, I'm able to get out of bed, but this is not normal. That never happens. So the doctor said, let's go ahead, let's do an ultrasound and check it out. Well, the Clomid, I didn't know at that time I had something called endometriosis.
Wow.
I have been in pain all my life with my menstrual. And it got to a point that I no longer complain about it to doctors, because throughout the years I went to emergency rooms. I went to OBGYNs. I went to my PCP. I visit different locations and no one believed me. No one did anything. I would sit there for hours. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. It's all in your mind. Oh, she just doing this for attention. That's what these people would tell my parents. And it drove me crazy. Like, no, I'm in pain. Why no one believed me? You guys don't even know me. And you're saying this about me. I am in pain. And this pain is every single month. Since the time I could remember I had my period. And I had my period when I was 9 years old. And no work, wasn't able to go to school that time. Whenever it comes on, I'm sorry, life is over. I'm in bed the whole time. No one believed me. And my mom knew that something was wrong, but no one was listening. So years when I took that Clomid, we did an ultrasound. That's when they found out I have a cyst on my right ovary. And then I have one also on my left ovary. I'm like, okay, so let's wait for a month. Let's do it again. Well, my right ovary a month later got bigger, and my left diminished a little bit, but the right one got bigger. We had my surgery, laparoscopic surgery. Come to find out, yes, I did have a cyst. The cyst was a chocolate cyst, the size of a melon, sitting on my ovaries as well as my colon. So it was sitting there, and they call it a chocolate cyst because once they cut it open, it looks like chocolate. It literally looks like chocolate milk. But all that is old blood that was being collected from my menstrual that was sitting in my ovaries. And all the years of doctors not believing me, all that was just getting bigger and bigger. And the medication they gave me was interfering with it. So that's what was causing the pain. So if it wasn't the fact that I was taking that medication, I probably would never have the surgery. Because at that point, I stopped complaining about it because no one was doing anything about it. It's like I just learned to manage it. I learned to deal with it. I changed the way I ate just so the pain could subside a little bit, and that did help. But what's the point of me complaining and no one is listening? So
the growth of that cyst, it got to the size of a melon.
A melon, yeah.
After years of complaining of pain.
Yep.
And never being appropriately assessed.
Correct.
That
because
is
I was lying. Like
that,
every part of me wanted to go to every single doctor and let them know, see, I was lying, right? I really wanted to do that. Like, I don't know what it was going to take, what difference was going to make, but I really wanted to do that. I was not lying. Here's the evidence. If you did something, then I wouldn't have to go through that. And I think my husband always asks me, are you okay? And that's usually what I would say. I'm mad, not because I have to go through this. I'm mad because it could have been prevented if someone listened to me.
Right. Now, being prevented, just from the background of it, those cysts happen, who knows when, right?
Correct.
But just being that diagnostician, taking that extra step, especially in the medical field when you only have 15, 20 minutes with a patient, but taking that extra step to actually listen and get a visual of what is going on, because this person's been suffering for years.
It took 21 years for me to get diagnosed. 21 years. 21 years.
And we think
countless of doctors.
We thank God it didn't rupture. Yeah. We thank God for that, because that right there, it can get to that place. So we thank God for that. But that just brings me to the point of advocating for yourself, ladies. Advocate for yourself. Something's not right. Stand up. I don't care if you have to bring a whole gang of people with you, but advocate. Yeah. You're helping yourself, and it's okay to stand up against those who know.
Yep. Now I'm big on it. Like, it's because I didn't know. Ignorance does not cover. It doesn't help to be ignorant, especially now that we have so much technology. You can Google, go to Dr. Google and Google everything. Right. And my symptoms was basically exactly what it is. If you download and type endometriosis, the list, it's me. I'm the poster child for endometriosis. So for doctors not even able to, that didn't listen, if you listen to my symptoms, it would have told you exactly what I had. But the fact that they didn't listen. So now I'm like, advocate for yourself. If they don't believe you, find another doctor and keep looking for that doctor until they believe you. Here's the studies. Here's what I found. This is the symptoms. Based on my symptoms, this is what I have. If you have to teach a doctor, do what you have to do, because you need your voice to be heard.
Yes, you do. Now, I have students that I precept, and I tell them to challenge me. And they're like, what? I'm like, challenge me. If there's something that you saw me do, it's something you saw me say to a patient, and you're like, that's not what I read, or can you tell me why you said X, Y, and Z? I am happy to take the challenge, because guess what? It keeps me fresh.
Yeah.
It keeps
and
me
you're
on top
human.
Right. It keeps me on top of my game. And I've had it where a student will bring something up that came out of research several months ago, and I will apply that if I find that, I can use that intervention. I'll apply that to that patient case, and let's watch the outcome. It's a learning opportunity for the student, but for me, as someone who's been practicing a while, it helps me. It keeps me fresh and abreast of what's going on and what's new out there. But the best thing is just listening to the patient.
Research, that's a good thing. Research is coming. Like, there's a lot. Doctors don't know everything, and it's okay. But research is developing every single day. So doctors have a load of things they have to do, patient care. So they may miss a research or two, and that's okay. But if you did your own advocacy, if you did your own work, and you're able to tell the doctor, this is what, I don't know, Harvard Med has discovered. And it's all on the internet. They just didn't have the chance to do it. And if you're able to bring that now to your physician, guess what? They're more likely to listen to you because, oh, this is something I didn't know. And that wasn't the case for me because there was barely any research back then with endometriosis. Now there's a little commercial here and there, but there's pretty much was nothing. There was nothing when it comes to endometriosis. So the doctors didn't know. They really didn't know. Only some that may have intensive research, that love to do research themselves, may have known this information.
Wow. I mean, I just love that you even brought that up. That something was caught because you complained and you advocate for yourself. That's great, and I commend you for doing that because a lot of women are not brave enough to speak out loud to say it. But let me ask this: you go and you find the chocolate cyst, it's removed, thank God. Endometriosis is diagnosed. Now you and your husband are like, we're gonna go ahead and keep trying to have this baby. What happened next? What happened?
Well, during my procedure, my right tube was completely blocked from endometriosis. So they had to remove my right tube. And the doctor wasn't quite sure about the left because I had so much bleeding, so she couldn't get to the left tube. So she had to stop the surgery. But she was like, the left tube is not where it needs to be, but it was better than the right. My right tube was like, you crumbled paper. That was what my right tube looked like. So she removed that. It took me about 3 months to heal just to go get tested to see if the left tube is blocked. Got tested, got a test called HSG, which is where they sent the little liquid dye on your tube to make sure it's actually functioning. It's a painful test. That test hurt.
Uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. And I had to take that test. The doctor, that day, my whole world changed. That's when the doctor told me, I'm sorry, you cannot have a baby naturally. Your only option is through IVF. I don't know what he said after that. I don't know if he had anything to say. I just boohoo crying. I couldn't handle anymore. My husband was there. I'm like, let's go. I'm ready to go. Because my world, I've always been the one that loved children. I was the kid that babysat. I enjoy it. I love kids. So you mean to tell me the thing that I enjoy, I cannot have it for myself? And we've been planning. At this point, it's been about 3 years, 2-3 years of trying. So I was told I couldn't have a baby, and I was opposed. I didn't want to do IVF. I did not want to do IVF. Mind you, I didn't know much about it. I did not want to do it because I felt like I was playing God. My biggest thing was, God, if I decide to go against your will, to play you and go through IVF, and I conceive a child, and this child is driving me nuts, and I go to you and ask, Lord, I need your help with this child, I was afraid that my father is going to say, I never sent you to get this child.
Oh, now that is a lot. That's deep.
That was my fear.
I don't think I would think that way.
That was my fear. Like,
wow.
He's going to not help me because he's like, I never sent you.
Whoa.
So that was my biggest fear. So in the beginning, my husband like, let's do IVF. I'm like, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I don't want to pay God. I don't want to pay God. I'm not God. I don't want to play that. Nope. We're going to have this baby naturally. It's going to happen. We're just going to wait. But how long is too long when it comes to waiting?
Right.
How long am I able? Because by then, my marriage this was interfering in my marriage.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated at everything. My husband doesn't even know how to talk to me or how to deal with me to calm me down because I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at God. I'm like, God, yo, what's up? Like, I felt like I was talking to God in a gangster way.
Girl, I do it too.
Like, I'm the thug in charge right now. Lord, what's up?
Yeah.
Why are you giving me all of this emotions that I want children, but then you're not delivering? Why? It makes no sense.
Honey,
That was me.
I hear you.
I
Loud.
was yelling like, Jesus, you're going to have to come down from your throne and handle this. Like, I was mad. But God has a way of sending subliminal messages, of pointing little things here and there, or sending people that you don't know just to calm you down and to speak to you. And mine was on a form of YouTube.
Yeah. Wow. YouTube. Tell us about that.
A lady that I was following for years for natural hair. And she decided one day to start talking about faith, start talking about walking in faith. And I'm like, I'm talking to the Swim like, that's not your ministry. Stick to natural hair, because you can't be talking about faith now. Because I was not in a position that I didn't want to hear that. You ain't no pastor. I didn't want to hear that. I was not in a position to hear any of that.
Right.
But for some reason, I sat and listened. And thank God I did. Because that was my turnaround. Because she was literally saying, you need to walk in faith. Whatever the pain you're going through, whatever your consequence, you feel like there's no end point, you're not going to recover from this. You need to walk as if. You may not fully believe it, but you're going to have faith enough to walk as if and plan as if God is going to deliver.
I love that.
She's over here telling people, you don't know if you're going to have children? I need you to go to Target and go buy yourself a onesie.
Come on.
Baby onesie. Go, because you're walking in faith. You never know if that baby's going to be on inside that onesie, but you're walking in faith, and that's making those small steps. And I'm sitting there like, chills. I'm at work, guys, watching YouTube on these people's computer. I'm at work. I'm not even supposed to do that. But then I'm crying because she is speaking to me. Yeah, she has thousands of viewers, but no, at that moment, it was me that she was speaking to. And that was starting to get me out of that rabbit hole that I put myself in. That message was pulling me out. And at that time, I was listening. I was now in a different ear space. Okay, God, I'm listening. I want to walk in faith. I want to be that person. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I want to walk in faith. And that's what we started to do. And one thing the Bible always say is go to your elders.
Right.
And that's what we did. We went to our pastor and our first lady at that time. And I told them my concern, like, I'm opposed to IVF and this is the reason. And she ministered to me, he ministered to us, because they also have their own infertility story. And they're like, look, God created medicine.
Yes, he did.
God created these people to have the hands that they have. God did this. I don't care, you believe in science more than God, but honey, God and science go hand in hand. And God is not going to tell you that because he discovered it.
Right.
They ministered to me, and that opened the doors even more. And now I'm like, okay, let me find out what fertility clinic that will be able to afford, who has the best rating. Well, we did our legwork, found one, and the rest is where we are today. I'm happy that I got myself out of that hole. I'm happy that I was able to go to people to help minister to me, to help me answer the tough questions.
Yeah.
And if anything, if you don't get anything from this, is find someone. You don't have to have all the answers. find someone that may have gone through it, or if you don't know anyone personally, now you guys have the chance that I didn't have, and that's Facebook groups. Stuff like this did not exist when I was going through it, and it wasn't even that long ago. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that long ago. People like us that look like us did not speak up. No. So if you don't get anything from this video, reach out to us when you finish with this. Finish watching. Reach out to someone, because we will be able to help you get yourself out of that rabbit hole.
Right. Wow, y'all. She is dropping knowledge. She's dropping faith. She's telling y'all that our faith is tested during this time. But God's also showing us that I have the answer, but you're trying to stop me because you're afraid. And can you tell us, Sandra, were you afraid of what people were going to say? That's why you didn't want to do IVF? Were you afraid of the process? And how was the process? Like, just even telling people, oh, we're going to do IVF.
Yes, I was afraid of all of the above. What people are going to say, and it's crazy, when we were going through all of this, the people that I felt some kind of feeling about, or my stomach was going through knots if I said it, unfortunately was Christian.
Wow.
Unfortunately was people that serve the same God that I do, because they had the same mindset I had before. You're playing God. And it's not the case. So now I'm advocating to teach our people, this is not even the right thing to say. This is not that they're playing God, but I felt it all. I remember, I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, and I don't know if you guys remember the word test tube baby.
Right, yes.
Test tube baby. And I was afraid to tell people that were going through that, because to me, that's what they're going to say. Oh, you're having a test tube baby. I'm like, no, I'm having a baby.
Right.
That just so happened to have to go through a dish, but I'm having a baby. Right. Same as you. It's just in a different way of doing it, because my body doesn't allow me to do it.
Right.
Now I'm at a place that I'm okay with explaining that. Go ahead and call my baby test tube baby, because that to me is the opportunity for me to educate you.
Right.
Now,
right.
Because you're telling me, okay, you don't know, and that's okay. I need to tell you, because now I'm on the other side. But before, that's what, if someone had to tell me test tube baby or you can't have baby, that literally just take a knife and just stab me, because that's what would hurt me to the core.
Right.
Because I was living it. I couldn't have kids, and everybody around me was popping babies. I was going to baby showers. People was asking me to be godparents. I'm like, and I'm the only one married and walking in faith. So how in the world, Lord, I'm telling you, this is painful, but you sending these people to me, to putting it right in my face, like, Lord, come on.
Right.
Why? At that time, I didn't see the bigger picture, because I was living it. But the pain was real. Who was I going to talk to? I didn't know who I was going to talk to. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't know anybody that went through this. Everybody would just say, have faith, have faith. But how could I have faith when my faith is being tested over and over and over again? My faith is looking a little shaky right now.
Right.
Because yes, I have faith, because that's all I can have right now. There's doctors already disappointed me. All I can have is look. When you hit rock bottom, you don't have no way to look, but the direction is up.
Right.
Like, I have no other way to look to God. But at the same time, I'm like, God, this is a lot. Like, I can't bear all of this. So when people would say, have faith, and it was to aggravate me, because I'm like, you don't know what that faith looked like.
Ooh, come on. Girl, I gotta sit and adjust myself. Because that's word.
That's my faith versus you that's having faith that tomorrow you're gonna have to go to work, or tomorrow I just need to get $10 in my pocket so I can go get some McDonald's. That's a different kind of faith. My faith, testing every fiber of my being, every nail on my toes, every hair on my head. I'm testing everything. I have to give every single thing to God. Everything. You just don't know how hard it is when people say, just let it go and let God. How? I'm saying it. I think I'm doing it, but I'm living it. I'm physically living it. So how do you want me to have faith? How does that faith look like? But no one was able to give me that clear picture.
Nope, they can't.
They did not understand. They've never been there.
Mm-hmm. They can't even, like, you know, there's no sort of an empathy that can happen at that moment. It's just not possible unless you're walking through it, right?
Yeah.
They can sympathize. Oh, I'm sorry you're going through, but they can't empathize. They can't like, I felt that unless you are talking to somebody who actually has felt that. I mean, Sandra, I was there. Like, people like, have faith. And I remember my mom told me to ignite my faith. And I was at her like, Mom, what do you mean?
How did it look like?
She couldn't explain it, you know? And I'm like, sitting there, well, what? You know, that's when you actually go to God and you're like, well, God, show me what that even looks like. Like, what do I have to do to build that type of faith that is unshakable?
Yeah.
That is unshakable, you know? And to have faith in knowing that He may not answer the way that
and be okay with it.
And be okay with it. That is hard.
That's hard.
And not a lot of people can handle that.
That's hard. And you have to go through the process. You have to go through the process. And I think a lot of us that go through infertility, we want to skip the process because we want this pain to go away. We want to either just have the baby or take this feeling away. Because I prayed for that. They give me a baby or take this feeling that I want, the desire that I want, take it away. Take it away if that's the case. And nope, He didn't do that. He didn't do that. Matter of fact, He allowed the desire to consume me even more. So I was challenged in a way, like, okay, I don't know, like they saying I can't have kids. They say that I can do IVF. I don't know how IVF look like right now, or could we even afford it? So, all right, I'm gonna try to do the thing that I can control, which is my weight, my body, see if I can control that through eating and exercising and changing the way, like changing my lifestyle.
Right.
And that's what I was doing. I was researching what some things that interfere with endometriosis. Because they say endometriosis, you can't remove it completely, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to find the one thing that I have control over and do that and do it to the best of my ability because I need to win on something. I need something that I can say yes to. And I did just that. And I was losing weight. I was feeling myself. I was looking good, honey. I was enjoying it, that part, even though I was miserable in other areas of my life. And to that one day at work, that I've always felt the presence of God. I've always felt the presence of God. I love feeling the presence of God. But I've never experienced hearing Him specifically until that day. And my left side whispered to me, Sandra, you are doing everything right now to have this baby, which is that control factor that I'm dealing with of losing weight, trying to get a hold of something. You're doing all of this when you don't even know that you're going to have it, but I'm right here. I'm right here. Girl, I turn around like, who said that? Because I kid you not, He said it. He said it. There's no one in the world could tell me otherwise that wasn't Him. Every fiber in my being, like, that was from God. And immediately, and there was nobody behind me. I had a wall behind me. There was nobody. I was my own little bubble at work. And I left my area, went to the bathroom, and praised Him. Boohoo cried and praised Him because He was telling me, stop trying to control everything.
Right.
Let go. You're praying to have a child. You're praying for this, and you don't even know that you're going to have it. How about praying for something you already have?
Come
It's
on.
me.
Right.
Pray to him. Because if anything, he'll be the one that gives me that. Pray to him. Get my relationship with him in order. Know that he is just and faithful to be able to do all the will and my desire because he created all of this. So I did that. And around that time, it just so happened that my church ended up having a month revival. I did everything. They look at here, 6 to 6 fasting. I'm there. Prayer breakfast. I'm there. Every Sunday morning, night, I'm there. I did everything that they had because
You were hungry.
I was hungry. I was no longer trying to control. I needed him to control the situation. So I was hungry. I went to him and gave my all. I never gave my all to my like I did. I gave my all, left it in the altar. And then at the end, I'm like, it is finished. It is done. I cannot pray anymore. I'm all prayed out.
Right.
At that point, I did it all I can and left it at that. And we decided to do IVF because now I'm open for it. I'm excited. I'm ready to do IVF.
A lot of barriers have been broken off of your mind.
I'm ready. And my husband and I were like, you know what? We have to. The thing about IVF, you have to plan it. It's not just a whim. Let's go. Unless you got it like that. I don't have it like that. I have to plan. So we decided to leave where we stayed. We were staying. We're living at an apartment and moved into my parents' house, which is a lot for me.
Honey.
A lot. I love my parents. I left their house, married my husband, and I wanted to just visit my parents, not go back and live with my parents. And my husband was such a trooper. He didn't want to do it either, but he like, you know what? This is something we have to do in order to save for the bigger picture. So the rent that we were paying, we're going to collect that and save that. And we did just that. But remember that YouTube video, Walk in Faith?
Yes.
My husband and I did that. We were staying at my parents' house. We decided to go and walk in faith. We're going to doctor's appointment, getting blood drawn. And if you ever did IVF, honey, you giving blood.
Okay.
Lots and lots of blood. You're getting every test known to man to get checked. And we're doing all of that. Honey, we don't have no money. We don't have no money. We don't know, but we're going. Sandra, Abner, appointment on Friday. Okay, we'll be there. We showed up. Next appointment, yes, this is the plan that we decided for you guys, and this is how much it's going to be. You go ahead and let us know, and we can start on Monday. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. We don't know. We don't have $1 to our name, but okay. Over the weekend, God gave us every single drop. All the money came in. The money for the medication came in. The money for the actual procedure came in. Mind you, we only been in my mom's house for 3 months.
God.
3 months. Everything came in. And I'm like, whoa. When they say walk in faith, we just do the walk, but sometimes we don't actually believe there's going to be an outcome. We just pray there's going to be an outcome, but we are shocked when God delivered. And he delivered, and he kept delivering. We would hear little glimpses of him and feel him. He would say things to my husband, say things to me, and we would become one accord. And I'm like, this is all God, all God. So people can say test tube baby and this, that, all you want.
That ain't matter to you, honey.
It don't matter because I was delivered. God gave me the stamp and approval to go through this process, and he delivered it. And I am blessed to have a miracle baby. And my story, even through IVF, was just one chapter.
Yeah.
Because now I also have a pregnancy chapter, delivery chapter.
Come on.
After a parenting chapter. All of this was God's perfect design.
Right.
Perfect. If I didn't see it was a perfect design then, I'm having chills just saying it again now. And I lived it. I didn't see it as it was a design then. To me, it felt like a curse. So through this experience, my faith has increased tremendously. I would do this all over again just to get closer to my Lord, just to get that experience again, that glimpse like, ooh, he's right next, like he's right next to me.
Right.
I can feel him, I can hear him. I can't see him, but I have faith enough to know that he is there because there's no one else that could deliver like he did. No one else. And I love me some Jesus, y'all. Oh, I love me some Jesus.
The one and only. Now, I have a question. Anytime during the part where you decided to do the IVF, your husband's on board, he's supportive, y'all are praying, you feel God walking next to you. Was there any point in time where you were struck by fear with the IVF procedure, or just like maybe even having fears of losses or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. I had faith, but of course I had fear throughout. Like throughout the whole process, even in the very beginning, when I was mad to determine like, why do I have to go through this? Why me? Why is this? And we hear often about generational curse.
Right.
And I used to ask myself, is this something that because some member of my family years ago did, and I'm over here having to deal with what they did? Or was there a sin that I committed that was so harsh that caused me to be a barren woman? And I started making myself go crazy because I was literally writing down all the sins that I made throughout my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm over here like, well, I did have sex before marriage. Oh, maybe that caused it. I did this, I did that. Oh, and one day I just decided to bring this up to my husband, and he's looking at me like I'm a crazy lady. Like, why are you opening a can of worms? Why? If it's in your past and God forgave you for it, why are you bringing it back to make it just to what you're going in your present? Just leave it at that. And I needed to hear that. Because once he mentioned that, I didn't look at that again. I was done with that. But throughout the whole process, yes, I'm walking in faith and know that God is going to deliver. But there's always a small fear that what if it doesn't work? Mm-hmm. Because IVF is not 100%.
Right.
Understand, it's not 100% that it's actually going to work. Even if you're the healthiest of the healthiest person, it's not 100%. And even when it did work, now there's a fear of having to go through delivering a baby through term and making sure the baby is healthy and have all his 10 fingers, 10 toes, no issues. There's always that fear. Even if that's a fear for women, even if you don't go through IVF, that's just a fear.
Right.
Because there's that situation. And then for my situation, my baby, I was hearing my baby was going to have learning issues. And I had something called placenta previa, and I was leaking blood for the hell of it. Was just blood. I was in and out of the hospital, and eventually I was stuck in the hospital. I had to be bedridden in the hospital until delivery. And my son ended up being born 29 weeks, which is very early.
Right.
29 weeks. And you look at him now, you would never believe that he was a child that was born prematurely. The learning issues that they said he was going to have, absolutely not, in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
He is actually the total opposite. That little boy, we call him a little genius because he is smart as heck. Smart little boy. You speak to him, you'll forget that you're speaking to a 6-year-old. He learned how to read at 1 years old. He was a reader. Because they would tell me, oh, your child's gonna have this. I was walking in faith. No, he's not. We're gonna do all the things that we're going to do to encounter that.
Right.
Oh, he's gonna have, because he was born premature, he's gonna be behind. Okay, all right, that's fine. But we're gonna do what we gotta do to make sure he catch up.
Right.
So, and we did all of that, and my baby was reading before 1. He was giving us sentences. He left the hospital He spent 2.5 months in the hospital as a NICU baby. Within a couple of weeks of being home, his first word, Dada. He said it. And I'm like, this is not the same baby they were talking about.
Right.
This is not. This is not. And even to this day, I look at him sometime and I'm staring like, you are everything that God envisioned.
Come on.
Like, you are, I could not have done this at all. There's no way. You are all God. And even through a pregnancy, I used to say, God, he's in there. Make sure you make room for yourself.
Ooh,
don't leave him by himself. Make sure you in there with him, keeping him comfortable. Make sure you're doing your work, having a conversation. Because at the end of the day, I held him, I carried him, but that's your child.
Right, right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. I love
He's
that.
not ours. Our children are not ours.
No, they're not.
They're not ours.
As much as we want them, they have nothing to do with us. And I've said this before, God needed your child here.
Mm-hmm.
He created your child for a time like this one. God knows what the earth needs.
Yeah.
So as much as we thought that, or you may have thought, or even women out there, you may think that you're in control because you decided to, go through IVF. Some people do IVF by choice, but some people do it because they can't conceive, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But although you thought you were in control, God was always in control because God is creative. He created the path of IVF, IUI. He created those things. He's the God that he gives scientists, paths and visions. They may think they come up with them by themselves, so they name procedures and stuff after themselves. I'm not a believer in that. I believe that is, divine intervention. And that's when God and science really
come together.
Shows you he is science. And he shows you. So I mean, I just love how you walk that process and how you guys trusted the process, despite.
It's not. It wasn't perfect. We had a lot of bumps and bruises because in the beginning, honey, if you told me then that you're going to talk to women about this, you're going to speak about it, I'm gonna look at you like, huh? No, I'm not. And I'm gonna say in the name of Jesus, I'm not. No, I'm not. And it's crazy. In the name of Jesus, I am.
Right.
I am. I'm happy to hold this position now because I get the chance to help the woman through the process. To me, my process took a little longer because I was so mad. Mm-hmm. I was so angry. And until I left that phase, God let me, okay, go ahead and throw yourself a pity party. Go ahead and go through your depression. Go ahead. I'm going to wait for you. Yeah, I'm going to wait for you when you're done. And he allowed me to do that. But you have to remember, the longer you throw yourself a pity party, the longer God is going to wait for you. And do you really want to leave your Heavenly Father waiting for you for that long? So you waiting for your blessing. You really want your blessing to take longer because you've been in this pity party for so long. And I had to get myself out of that pity party. It wasn't easy. It was not easy, but I had to trust the process. But once I did, the deliverance, man, I could explain it to you. I can tell you, but until you leave that position to get your deliverance, I'd rather you actually get to feel it for yourself. Because I can tell you all the good stuff, but there's nothing like feeling God's deliverance for yourself. So if you can find your strength and stop telling yourself you're less than, you're broken, you're not complete. My body was created for this, but I can't. And once you understand, like, okay, I'm unable to do this, but God is able. And so you start changing your verbiage. Right. I may feel broken, but that's because the enemy is telling me I'm broken, but I'm not. God created me in his image. So I'm not going to say I'm broken because that means God is broken.
Right.
So I'm not. I may have to create a different path. Like God may have to create a different path for me and I have to go through in a different way, but I'm not broken. I'm actually better because
Right.
God had to put in the work for me.
Right.
And even when you go back to biblical time, infertility is all over the Bible.
And
It's
you know,
all in the Bible.
what's so funny about that is going through this journey made me realize that it wasn't just a Sarah story. It wasn't just
Mm-mm.
Hannah. It was not just that. It was like you watch the reaction of the woman, the reaction of the husband,
Husband.
and you're like, okay, God.
Mhm.
And at the end of their story, they had a baby.
Yes.
So that
Amazing
right.
baby. It
And
wasn't a regular baby. They
no,
were John the Baptist. They were the like powerful man in the Bible.
right.
So we're going through this. Your child may be something testimony was or her testimony is being created before they were born.
It is like, oh my, that the mom had to go through this because the gift that they had to carry had to be here. The
Yes.
testimony had to be here. It had to be
Mm-hmm.
now for this
Yeah.
time. And trust me, it took me a while to get there. Like, cause I'd be like,
Yeah.
really,
We
God?
all did.
I have to sweat. I have to do all this. I gotta cry. I have to work. I don't even get it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
grieving myself. What?
Yeah.
What? In
Yeah.
order to come to a selfless place. And some people might look at IVF or even us going through, medication trials and errors as a selfish want.
Mm-mm.
And I had to, go through and be like, no, God would never put in me the desire to be a mother if He
Mm-hmm.
didn't want me to be a mother. But
Mm-hmm.
what He wanted to teach me is that I can't get everything I want when I want it and how I want it.
How I want it. Mm-hmm.
I leave no room for Him to be the God of the miraculous, the God of the impossible. And when I sit, I'm like, and I look at the word. I know I've read so many like memes and stuff that says impossible. It pretty much says I'm possible, but they're talking in the sense of themselves. And
So
I'm like, if I serve an impossible God, it tells me that He is possible, and it
mm-hmm.
makes me just lean on Him.
Yeah.
And I
And
just love
IVF is there's nothing about IVF that's self.
right,
Nothing about IVF that's self. From the start of IVF to the very end and actually conceiving and being a parent, you're not really much in the equation. You are, but you're doing selfless acts throughout. Watching the way you eat, stuff that you injected in your body that you would normally would not. You are doing things that you would normally wouldn't do, stuff that you don't want to do,
right,
but you're doing it for the greater good. So when somebody could say you're selfish for wanting IVF, there's nothing selfish about IVF. Nothing. You are acting selfless
right.
for every single part of infertility.
Right, right. Because there's a mental sacrifice, there's a
Ooh.
physical sacrifice, there's a marital sacrifice. And before we even go, start trying to end, I want you to talk about your husband and how he supported you and how you watched him change in this
Mhm. My husband throughout the process was God sent. Because when you look at either, let's take a look back in past relationship that you had prior to the person you married. Let's analyze this. Would any one of your past relationship would be able to get you through this?
process. Girl, I got a scratch in my head. No.
No.
Jesus.
Would any of them will be able to stay through all of this? Because it is a lot. So God picked the person that will be able to hold your hand, have his shoulder prepared for you to cry on,
Mhm.
have you ready to give you those sweet things that you need to hear at the moment that you need to hear it. So, or that look that he may give you, or even that squeeze on your butt that he may actually like, oop, passing by, oop, you
Yep.
know,
You
all
need
those
it.
little
You
things.
need that.
You need it. You need it because IVF, infertility, is so draining. It is a lot. You are a different person throughout the process. 1 minute you are excited. The 2, 3 minutes later, you're like miserable because it's hormone medication. And it's hormone medication. It's a lot. It takes
We are already hormonal.
we're already hormonal, right?
I'm like, God, you already created me with this mixture of all this estrogen and here
that
I
you
am
will not
pushing
get
more stuff. I'm
more
pushing more.
in hopes, and that's the crazy thing, in hopes to get it.
Yeah.
So you do all of this that you may not be able to get it. So your husband is standing right next to you. And that's if it's a male factor or female factor that you're going through. Even if it's a male factor, the woman, you still have a lot of medication to prepare your body to deal with it.
Right.
And vice versa. Even if you're the woman that's going through it, he may still have to take some vitamins and stuff to make sure that his sperm is not just a regular sperm, that we need to up those qualities, that he will be able to combat and hold your eggs together. So there's a lot. So marriage, yes, your marriage is going to get tested, but we hope throughout the process that your marriage is strengthening, because this avenue others will never get. Other marital folks will never get to experience this. So you get to experience, no matter how you may feel like it's negative, I don't want to go through this. You are just, it is what it is. Right. Just use and take the best part in it and apply it to the rest of your marriage, because we're going to be able to experience this and tell our children, our great grandchildren, or even other couples that's going to go through this, and let them know, hey, this only strengthens us.
Right.
Because if you can go through IVF, you can go through anything.
Right.
You can go through anything
together.
So yeah, so your marriage may be going through it right now. You don't know how you're going to go through it. Your husband may not be able to talk. Your husband doesn't know what to say. You don't know what to say. You're full of emotions and you don't know how to even communicate your emotions, because that's another thing. I'm going through it, but sometimes you may not be able to express it because it's still new to you.
Right.
And it's okay. Breathe through it. Take it one step at a time and deal with it. If you have a moment that you can communicate and just say, honey, I don't know how I'm feeling. At least you're saying that. Because most of the time, I don't know how I'm feeling.
Right.
At least you're saying that. So just know that he is there. He may not understand. He may not be Google crazy like you are.
Right.
Because my husband was not. But that's not his strength. The part that he is able to do is be present, and he's there. So take what you can, and when what he lacks, just explain it to him. This is what you need. This is what it is. This is how I'm feeling. If you're able to communicate with that.
And that's a team approach. That's a team approach, because you seldom, feel like a team when you're doing this, because especially when you're the woman and you're, injecting yourself and you're taking all the pills and you have to go get the HSG and you have to do all the stuff, all the blood work, you're like, it's me. I remember at one point I told my husband, I'm like, well, maybe you need to do this, you need to do something else, you need to change something else, because I feel like I'm sacrificing a lot, And you're it's hormonal. Like now you look back and I can laugh about some stuff I said, but I honestly meant that because I felt that way and never took time to look at him and be like, oh, he's actually going through this too. And
they just don't show it the same way.
Right. It's a team approach. Well, as we wrap up, I want to see if you had any advice that you would give any woman, any plus size woman, or any woman in general who are wanting to conceive, wanting to be a mom, and are having difficulty in this season.
Yes. The first thing, have faith. even though it was part of my story, I said I took control on some part. I'm not looking at it as a negative because that controlling factor that I did hold allowed me to be in a healthy state to go through infertility, to go through IVF. So make sure you are healthy. Now, just because you're a plus size girl, don't mean that you're not healthy. You can be, because there's skinny folks out there are not necessarily healthy. Just keep yourself healthy. I'm not saying lose weight, healthy. Meaning start looking at, talk to your OBGYN and some vitamins that you can start taking. Because once you're doing infertility treatment, they would say it's best. Your body doesn't really start showing the sign of all the vitamins that you take until about 3 months.
Right.
It takes about 3 months for your body to start showing it and start reacting to the vitamins. So even if you're not going to go to an infertility doctor to get some information, talk to your OBGYN, find out what vitamins you can start taking now. Start doing some blood panels, some blood work to see what are you lacking. Because it may be just an iron deficiency that's causing you not to give a child naturally. So make sure all your ducks are in a row, that you're able to, when you do decide to do IVF, that your body can sustain it, that your mental part can sustain it, that even after you're actually get that positive test and you're pregnant, your body still need to be able to sustain pregnancy. So make sure that you giving your body the fighting chance.
Mm-hmm.
Find out, what are you lacking? Are you diabetic? How do you lower your numbers? High blood pressure. How do I get that in check? Your thyroid. Find out all these necessary things. Do you have enough vitamin D? Sometimes it's just the lack of vitamin D. And being African American, we don't like the sun too much.
Right.
So vitamin D, just taking your capsule, find out what you need to do. That little part that you do have control of.
Right.
Make sure you maximize that. Get your body the fighting chance, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes you may not even have to do IVF, that you just end up having your baby naturally. And that is completely okay. You will still be part of the infertility world because you still have to go through that process. But give yourself a fighting chance. If you have a broken limb, what do? You go see a specialist.
That's
if
right.
you find out you got cancer right now, you go see a specialist. So don't think because you're unable to have children that you should be afraid. It's taboo. I'm not going to see a fertility specialist. Why not?
Right.
Because you're going to see a specialist for everything else. Why is this any different?
Right.
So use your tools, find out what your insurance covers. Some states you're lucky that your insurance covers. Some you have to raise the capital. There are some companies that you can apply for a job that actually will pay for IVF. Starbucks is one of them. So find out what you can do. The power is really in your hands, your hand and in faith.
Right.
So putting those two together, putting your knowledge and the tools that you can find from Dr. Google, do what you can to hope and pray for the best possible outcome. Because you don't want to get through all this and find out, oh, it's because you had a low iron deficiency that you couldn't get pregnant. A $6 bottle of pills.
Right.
$6 that you could have gotten that because of that. This is the reason why you had multiple miscarriages. Mm. So get it checked. Put the fear aside, put the pride aside. Who cares what other people are going to say? Because if they're not going to say something about this, trust me, they're going to have something else to talk about. Forget them, forget the naysayers. Do what you have to do for your health.
That's right. Being your own advocate, standing up for yourself. I mean, I feel like this episode's really, really pushed to do just that, to really just stand up for yourself. Know that nobody has a stop sign but you.
But you.
Once
you're done, you're done.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I love that. Sandra, thank you so much for being with us, sharing your story, sharing your heart, y'all. She just poured knowledge, she poured faith, she pushed us, she motivated us. I mean, I know for me, I have taken in a lot. I have taken in a lot because you can apply all of this to your walk in life in general. In general. So Sandra, thank you so much. Thank you. So I am so excited that we are all on this journey together, guys. We're all talking about it, and it will continue. We have more episodes, we have more special guests, and I can't wait to share their stories with you and have them introduce themselves. So you stay tuned for next Friday. But like usual, I like to close out with a verse, and today's verse is Romans 8:37. But in all these things, we overwhelmingly conquer through Him who loved us. And y'all continue to conquer, continue to seek God, continue to do your part on the journey. All right. God's gonna do his part. Meet him halfway. I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.